So, from start to finish, this episode was hype. Seeing another rush duel in space with the protagonist also using his friend's ace monsters was such an awesome moment, and was very reminiscent of the Otis vs Yugioh duel from Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. And speaking of Yugioh, he once again reappears. Hello everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downton, and today we're talking all things episode 49 of the Yugioh Go Rush anime series. An awesome episode to really help to build hype for this season finale's duel, which of course is Zwijo versus Yudias, and the fate of Velgear rests on the outcome of said duel. So I mentioned how this episode felt very reminiscent of the Yugioh versus Otis duel way back in 7s, because of the whole dueling in space, and we have machines to act as the duelist's duel discs, because in 7s we have Otis and the Otis robot, and obviously Rush robot, and here in Go Rush we have the spaceships from Velgear transforming into duelists, which was very unexpected, but really cool at the same time. We also have Yudias using his friend's cards, like of course Mi-chan, Misku's ace, and many others that we get to see as well. He didn't get to use Manya's ace, but oh well, he did to Scarlet, which again is similar to when Yugioh was using Gakuto's ace monster, Roman's ace monster at the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. And we still have a lot of risk involved within this duel, because of the whole Gavial charges acting as energy converters for the duelists, basically making it so the cards can basically be projected in space. The duelists inside the pod controlling said cards are being damaged. They take physical damage when the monster gets destroyed. Much like how in 7s, we had the whole when Yugioh lost life points, the Rush robot started to take more damage and deteriorate over time. But enough of the comparisons, because the idea of the duelist in the pods taking the damage when the monsters get destroyed was a perfect way to display Yudias' resolve throughout this duel. Yudias cares a lot about his friends and wants them to be safe, we know this. But at the same time, he also wants peace for Velgear. And in order to do so, he needs to stop Zwijo's plan. But he needs the whole of Velgear to watch the duel unfold in order to show them how they can move forward with rush duels that doesn't involve it being a tool for war. It obviously pains Yudias to see his friends take damage, but also shows his belief, his trust, and his faith that Yudias has within his friends. And in turn, it shows the trust that they have for Yudias. It basically just perfectly displays the connections and bonds that Yudias has made throughout his journey, from leaving Velgear to going to Earth, to eventually coming back. And I really do like that. And everyone else that are in the pods, the duelists themselves, they seem to have a grudge against Zwijo anyway, so, win-win for everybody. Now, the episode itself was rather comical, as there was a lot of funny moments and great visuals, or just perfect timing for the jokes when they were presented. For example, seeing how Mutsuba's hound was in a safe area, but actually they just showed us it being in an asteroid field, was rather, amusing. But at the same time, we got things like the timing of Dark Hole being brutally funny, because, you set up your entire board, you just chuffed with himself, could manage to get all these cool monsters on the field. Yeah, I'm just going to use Dark Hole. Bye. Or we have Gohai Yuna giving that big speech about how she's better at dueling than all the other soldiers. And then as soon as she's used, she basically demands to attack Zwijo on the first turn, and she's in defense mode. So, great dueling knowledge there, Yuna. And of course, we can't forget her reaction to just being trippy for her. And speaking of Gohai Yuna, she really is someone that cares about her friends. Obviously, we know her connections with the Rovian bandits and Rovian, so seeing her get emotional after seeing Rovian return was understandable. But what I was surprised at seeing was her reaction to Yugioh returning, as she genuinely seemed to be worried about him after he left with the Luke. So this side of her shows that she really does care about those people around her. Now, we've seen her throughout the series get closer and closer to the main group. We obviously saw her help Asaka and Yuamu with the whole Misku situation, which is another example of her caring and being kind to people around her. So Gohai Yuna I really do like that kind-hearted nature that they've been presenting here and there, especially when it comes to her and Yuga's connection, because I feel like we can go a little bit deeper into that, and it'll still be really interesting to learn more about. But on that note, seeing Velgear's ship appeared was a really hyped moment and helped to add an extra layer to this episode. Not only do we get to see Yugioh versus Danamu, but we get to see Yugioh using Manabu's, Rovian's, and Velgear's ace monsters. Before of course showing that he saved them on his travels towards Velgear. And of course, we had to talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to this. Velgear is a variant of Luke. Rovian is a variant of Roman, and Manabu is a variant of Gakuto. So throughout this journey, Yugioh has pretty much been traveling with people that make him feel like he's a little bit at home. And that's just a heartwarming thing to think about, really. Now, as for Danamu, I was wrong, because I really thought that Zwijo would have to force him in order to get Danamu to join him. But no, it was really easy to convince Danamu to side with Zwijo. Now, this of course plays to his hyper and immature nature. And honestly, I can't blame him for that, because he hasn't evolved to the stage where he has that maturity to make, like, serious decisions, and he just wants to have fun at the minute. So, again, it's childish, but it works for the character. So this episode was an amazing first half of this duel, and really sets up the stakes and tones for the future, as Zwijo continues to be an incredible villain. Like, his new ace monster is so menacing and has such a cool design, with a brutal effect at the same time. The music, the animation, everything was on point, even the dialogue and the jokes, like I said before. Now, one thing I do want to see, and I think could be very beneficial for the plot, would be that in one of those pods that kind of shoot off the cards, I hope we get to see the commander of the Dueling Empire. Because we obviously made a connection and established that with them in previous episodes. And if the soldiers of Velgear saw that Yudias has made an alliance with the neutral zone, this could really help sway the decision for the soldiers to join with Yudias. Because honestly, we see in this episode that the soldiers are conflicted. They don't know whether to follow Zwijo or to follow Yudias. And that's exactly what's going to be the outcome of this duel. Whoever wins basically gets control of the soldiers. Now, those were my thoughts on this episode. Let me know yours in the comments down below. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, hit that like button, comment your thoughts, subscribe for more things Yu-Gi-Oh! And of course, I hope you have an amazing day. Alligator, matane, goodbye.